Hello all you beautiful people, I'm Coral, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with a tag video today. This is the mid-year freakout tag and I did this last year and I liked it, so I'm gonna do it again. It's halfway through fucking 2020, the year that has taken 3 years to get through half the year. This was created by Earl Grey Books. It said that it was like a co-op. She was co-creator. But I can't find a link to the other channel anywhere, so maybe the channel doesn't exist anymore, but Earl Grey Books channel does still exist, and she helped create this video. I will leave you a link down below if you'd like to look at her original video. Anyways, on to the questions. Question number 1 is, what is the best book you've read in 2020? Impossible to answer, because I've had more than one 5-star book. But I think my favorite so far has been Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This book has got a lot of flack lately because I think people don't understand that your characters in your book can be shitty assholes without you yourself being a shitty asshole, like as the author, you know? And there's a lot of talk about how they shit on women and stuff like that, but like, also, did you grow up in a religious household? Because that shit's real and the author's not just pulling this out of his ass. Anyways, this book is about some housewives in North Carolina. They get together, well, they actually meet each other through book club where they're reading like the classics and literature to enrich their minds and stuff like that. It's kind of like hoity-toity, but they meet each other and come together to form a different book club where they read what they really want to read, which is like true crime books and stuff like that. And a new person comes to their town and the main character thinks that he might be a fucking vampire. So it is such a good book, a great book about unity and friendship. Question number 2 is, what is the best sequel you've read so far? I haven't read that many, but I'd have to say anyways, even if I had read many others, the best would probably still be Bright We Burn, right? Yes. There's 3 books, so I couldn't remember which one was the third one, by Kiersten White. This is the 3rd and final book in the Conqueror saga. This is kind of a gender swap reimagining of the Vlad the Impaler story. Instead of Vlad being a man, in his place is a character named Lada, who is a woman, and she is so fucking badass and cool, and this book has so many feelings and like great characters, so many characters that are like trying to break the box that society has put them in, you know what I mean? This was a great ending to the book, or to the series, which like I feel I'm kind of hard to please when it comes to stuff like that, but I think this really hit the nail on the head. It was so good, and probably it's going to continue to be one of my very favorite series of all time. It's just so dang good. Question number 3 is a new release that you haven't got to yet. I've been really good about reading like the new releases that I buy myself, so I don't have any of those laying around, luckily. But this is a new release from the Nightworms June package. This is Those Below the Treehouse by Matt Hayward, and this is one that really surprised me as I was reading the synopsis. And I really want to get to it soon, maybe even this summer. This is about a group of boys that come together. Something has bitten one of their stepdads in the neck, I believe, I don't know, but he gets bitten. Does it say? I don't think it matters. He gets bitten by something and like his condition worsens and he becomes something else. And it's like, it doesn't seem like it's vampires, which you would assume by like a bite that, you know, incapacitates somebody and all that stuff. So they end up like being in this tree house, and there are like the things that were the townspeople like below the tree house, and it seems very creepy and like a great summer read. I'm really looking forward to this one. Number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. This is definitely Survivor Song by Tremblay. His new release is seem to be coming out around my birthday, which is very nice. This one is released in July, I believe, and this seems like kind of a post-apocalyptic kind of survival horror book. Should I read the synopsis? The synopsis, as told by Goodreads, is: in a matter of weeks, Massachusetts has been overrun by an insidious rabies-like virus that is spread by saliva. But unlike rabies, the disease has a terrifyingly short incubation period of an hour or less. Those infected quickly lose their minds and are driven to bite and infect as many others as they can before they inevitably succumb. Hospitals are inundated with the sick and dying, and hysteria has taken hold. To try to limit its spread, the Commonwealth is under quarantine and curfew, but society is breaking down and the government's emergency protocols are faltering, and like, are we living this? Almost! Holy shit. So it goes on from there about some of the characters involved, but I don't like to know too much of that. I feel like that paragraph gives you a good grasp of what the book's going to be about. So that is Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay. It says it should be out July 7th. Hopefully it is. Some publishing dates have been pushed back, so hopefully this is not one of those. Okay, number 5 is the biggest disappointment, and not to, oh boy, this one, WompWomp, The Guinevere Deception, also by Kiersten White. She wrote one of my very favorite series, and here she is disappointing me, and like, I think maybe I shouldn't have read these two books so close together, because like, I literally like read the end of that one and then started this one. And man, the female characters in her books could not be more different. They are very different people. So like Lada Dracul, she is like fierce and she is a leader and she doesn't need fucking anybody to tell her what to do. Meanwhile, Guinevere in this book is very meek and just kind of whiny and naive. And I think I've realized right now I'm rereading The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley, and I'm realizing that I think Guinevere is just like a character that I never liked, because I'd kind of forgotten how insufferable I thought she was even in The Mists of Avalon. I think she's just like all around the way, I mean, like, I feel weird saying like as a character, because there are so many different iterations of the King Arthur story and Guinevere and stuff, but in what I read her in books that I've read where she's in them, I don't like her. So I don't know, this like was supposed to be like a feminist retake on a King Arthur story, with Guinevere as the main character instead of, you know, Arthur, but this just, I am not going to continue this series. It was a giant disappointment. Number 6 is The Biggest Surprise, and I think that goes to Ninth House by Leigh frickin' Bardugo. I thought that I would like this book, because like otherwise I wouldn't have bought it, but I liked it so much. This was a 5-star book. It completely blew my freaking pants off. This is about a young woman, and she has this kind of ability to see the dead. She gets invited to go to Yale, which is like very out of her league, and not that she's dumb, but like she grew up and definitely had some drug problems and stuff like that. So it's just wasn't going to be in her future, except for that people found out that she can see the dead. So she gets recruited by Yale basically to help, because they have all these secret societies, and the secret societies each do different things. Like one is more like for illusions, one does more like transformation stuff, and she is assigned to a house called Leigh, where they are kind of the guardians of these houses, or maybe less like the guardians of the houses and more like they make sure that the houses keep in line, because sometimes they do things and kill people that they shouldn't kill and harm. So this was so dark and spooky and so good, and I can't wait for the next book in this series to come out, because I'm going to snatch that up so fast. This was really good. Question number 7 is a favorite new author, debut or new to you, and this is a debut author. I really loved My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is crazy to me that this was a debut book because it was so phenomenal and so hard to read and also hard to put down at the same time. It was bananas. This is about a young woman in her teens who had a relationship with a much older male teacher and how that's kind of stunted her life, really. And it was so sad and cringy and hard to read and like beautiful at the same time. It was so good. I can't believe, like I said, that this is a debut work. Crazy. So I will pick up her next book like without even thinking about it. Number 9 is your newest favorite character. This let's see. Okay, let's start over. This is Made for Love by Alissa Nutting. A very good book. Not quite a 5-star read for me, but so weird. And one of the characters in it is a con man who has this altercation with a dolphin in the ocean where the dolphin tries to sexually assault him. And he, from this kind of trauma, has this fetish for dolphins afterwards. Like he wants to have sex with dolphins. And that's clearly not like a great place to be in life. So it gets kind of weird, and like the story is weird enough, and then they introduce this character and you're like, what the ever-loving fuck is going on here? So he's great. He's a great addition to the story, but really most of the characters in this book are really good, so you should try it. Number 10 is a book that made you cry, and I don't think that that happened. When you read a lot of horror and thrillers, there's not a lot of like super heartfelt stuff in there or like emotional stuff. I'm crying right now because I just yawned, but I don't think a book made me cry this year. Number 11 is a book that made you happy. This was also kind of hard to think about. There are lots of books, I don't know, like books themselves make me happy, but I don't think that there was very many books that I like read and like the content of it made me happy, because I just don't pick out those kind of books. I think the closest thing I can get to happy is reading a Chuck Wendig Miriam Black book, because Miriam Black is so fucking hilarious and I wish that she were a real person so I could be friends with her. The book itself is very not happy. It deals with like this really dark serial killer that Miriam is trying to catch, and so like that's really sad and depressing, but she is so dang funny, and that made me very happy. She made me chuckle more than once in this book. Number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. I have a lot of very nice looking books. I can't get this book out of here, but I think one of the ones that surprised me the most with how it looks ended up being the last book on the left. This is done by the hosts of the last podcast on the left, and the artist here, his name is Tom Neely, I believe, and he just really knocked it out of the park. I think my favorite is this depiction of Ed Gein as Venus. So fucking funny and just very detailed, and I love it so much. The book itself, it was like, I think maybe I just wasn't like the audience meant for this book, because it covers well-known serial killers, which it's like, as somebody who's been interested in this kind of stuff since I was basically a child, I know a lot of the facts in here, so like it was very well researched and the art in here was great. I wouldn't say that this is a bad book, but I think I just wasn't its intended audience. Okay, final question. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them. That would be good if I could do that, thanks. Most importantly, I really need to get my ass moving on The Ship of Theseus by Doug Dorst and J.J. Abrams. Really been slacking on this one. I was trying to do a vlog, but I haven't been giving myself enough time every month to do this, so I need to work on that. I'd also like to get through Dune this year sometime. This is an ambitious undertaking. It's a big fucking book, but I've wanted to read it for a while, so I'm trying to, you know, pick up books that are big, because I shouldn't not read them just because they're big and they might take me a long time. That's fucking stupid, and I never used to think that way until I got involved with like social media booking, which is dumb. I also have a couple 5-star predictions. That includes When Darkness Loves Us by Elizabeth Engstrom, Contagion by Aaron Bowman, The Man from the Train by Bill James, Another Night by Jay Kristoff, and The Grand Dark by Richard Cadre. I'd also really like to get through the 5th A Song of Ice and Fire book, A Dance with Dragons. Hopefully, I don't know, we'll see. There are so many books that like I'd like to get to by the end of the year. So those are just a couple. That's a lot of books. I only have 6 months left. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you've done this tag, because I really like watching other people's tag videos. But yeah, like I said, any feedback, let me know if you've read any of these and what you think. Let me know, I don't know, let me know things. Okay, see you guys later, bye!